Welcome back to the single room that I live in for about 95 to 98% of my daily life. Hello, everybody. This is Kate, and I am wanting to share something with you as the year comes to a close. This interesting year of 2025. I wanted to kind of go over some of the books that I enjoyed the most this year. I haven't been doing any videos for a long time. Um, and I wanted to share some things that I've been reading in the meantime that I haven't really talked about too much. We are just going to go over a stack of some of my favorite books of the year, and I'm not going to get too into the weeds with each of them. I'm not going to go totally over the plot of the book or anything, but I just wanted to say a few words about each book and if I think that you'll enjoy it or not based on the kind of books that you like. So these are my top books of 2025. I read, well, okay, let's see. As of today, it's the 22nd of December. So I have about a week left to finish my Goodreads goal for the year, which is 50 books. And I am sitting at 48 right now, and I'm almost done with the 49th. So I think I can do it. It will be the most books I've read since I was, I don't know, like 10, 12, I think, per year. And so that's the one pro of being trapped in a room for a year straight, being too ill to do much of anything else. That's a pro. So the first one is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This was a book that I actually read for my little book club that I do with a couple of my friends. But no one else has read it yet. So you guys, if you see this right now, get on it because I want to talk about this thing. So this is sci-fi. I don't tend to like sci-fi very much, actually, and I think that's because I don't tend to like technology very much. I'm much more of a fantasy person because that's the particular brand of like nerd that I am. But this was amazing. It was very atmospheric and it played around with gender quite a bit. Like that's kind of the whole one of the whole points of the book. A lot about like politics and gender and also general sci-fi stuff, different planets, spaceships, although those aren't really a big part of it. A lot of like survival narrative kind of. As you can kind of tell by the cover if you can see it at all, they're in a very, very, very cold environment, like very, very cold and very snowy and very wintry. In fact, it is called winter, I believe. The planet is. I think this is a good, well, first of all, it's a good one to read in winter. I very much believe in reading seasonally. I think you can definitely tell that it's like one of those establishing sci-fi books. Like it definitely had has had a very significant cultural role. And I really do like Le Guin's writing too. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I read another one of her books for college, The Telling, and I really liked that as well. So I'm really interested in reading some more of her work. And this was a nice, compact little, deeply human book. And I really love the things sci-fi has to say about like who we are throughout time as humans. I like that. That's my favorite part of it. The technology stuff and the jargon, not as much my favorite. And this didn't have that much of that to me. So I really liked this. Another little small one, physically small one, and lengthwise is The Giver. Now, I know this is something everyone read in like, I don't know, middle school. I didn't. So it was really great for me to read this actually because I was like, everyone talks about this and it's like, just classic dystopian, classic, but I was like, I don't I don't think I like it. And I read it and I was like, this is really, I like this. So, very formative book. Like, reading this, you could see the place it has culturally compared to everything that came after it, the like dystopian genre. I'm actually kind of glad that I didn't read this when I was younger because I think that it hit for me now, and when I was younger, it might have just not hit quite the way that it did this year of my life reading this. So, and I know there's more books that follow this, and I've been interested in maybe reading them. I also read it in literally one night. So, that I love when I can really just like dive into a book and read all of it like right away. And then I finish it and I'm just like, I need to sit with that when it can just be a unit that way and really like pack a punch. I really enjoy that. So I would recommend The Giver if you like to go back and read those classics that you heard about all the time growing up and you never read and you want to expand your mind by finding out what they're actually about rather than what you think they're about. This was a beautiful book. It was just a beautiful book. Enough said about that. This is Death Comes for the Archbishop by Willa Cather. This was on my top 100 books of all time in genre poster that I've been working through but majorly slacking on lately. I am not going to lie to you. I hated this at first. Like literally the first, third, fourth. I was really angry. Like it just made me very angry because it sounded so like prejudiced to me and it sounded so I was like, I get it, product of the time, but it was like bad even for that to me at the beginning. And I'm glad I stuck it out because this book moved me intensely. Like it's deeply human. It's about these like priests who are sent out west like in the US to, I mean, not good, but to like convert the indigenous peoples and you know, like civilize the lands and whatnot. And I that's why at first I was like, I hate this. I thought it was like advocating for that and just solely being like missionaries good, like missionaries good people, which but it wasn't in the end. It almost had like to me like some magical realism elements. It was actually very nuanced and human. Like by the end, it was very critical of the things that I thought it was advocating for at the beginning. I really enjoyed it. It made the Southwest just into another planet. Like it was, the descriptions were so vivid and so transportive. I really enjoyed this in the end. I really enjoyed my time with it, and I definitely want to read more Willa Cather, which I also looked into. I recommend looking into the author when you're reading a book. Shocker, but yeah, it can illuminate your experience. And finding out that Willa Cather was like presumably queer was really illuminated the way that I saw the book and the way that I saw the relationships between the men in the book. And that's all I'll say about that. Death Comes for the Archbishop. Also, what a banger title. I'm definitely going to read more Willa Cather. I have, what's the one that I have? My Antonia is the one that I have on the shelf now. I threw my back out like 10 minutes ago, picking my cat up. Little tangent here. When I stand below the stairs and my cat Butter is on the stairs, like a little higher up than me, and she's here, and I'm like, oh, hi, Butter. Like, I'm going to go up the stairs. If I stick my hand too close to her, she goes, and she tries to hit it. So she gets spicy when she's higher up than you. She's a diva, so she's so sweet and so cute and also crazy. She's not trying to be harmful. She's I don't know why I'm like, let me tell you that my cat is not bad. My cat is good. It's not that deep. Anyway, I threw my back out a little, picking her up. After that, after she was swiping at me a little because I was like, you're being naughty, so I'm gonna pick you up as punishment and just I guess give you a kiss. That's such a punishment. As I was picking her up, I like leaned a weird way and I twinged my back. Hypermobility problems. So it's A Passage to India, which is an E.M. Forster. I don't know why when I read classics, I just am like, that one sounds like something that I will read. And then it's usually someone who everyone is like, definitely they were gay. Like they were definitely very queer. Again, an author that I had never read any books by, but I really, really would like to read more. I was told to read in the summertime because, again, I love reading seasonally, and I did read it in the summertime, and it was great. Like the character of the actual land that they are passing through in India. Clearly, it is such a character. Like the sweltering, oppressive heat is such a character in this book, and I am really glad that I read it when I did during the summer. Again, another book that it started out and I was like, are you going to be one of those hard reads? Are you going to be one of those reads where I'm like, every other paragraph? But no, again, much more nuanced. Hot take, but some could say it's almost like queer people historically are sometimes better at writing about humans meeting each other on an even playing field despite their different backgrounds. It's almost like it was really, really good. It was painful in a lot of ways. The end actually was really painful because it's kind of all about like humans coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, obviously, and wanting to deeply connect on their humanness, on the level of their humanity, and not being able to reach that level because there's too much that's been institutionally built up in their ways, in their way to connect on that deep human level. That was what this book was about in a lot of ways to me. I just also love the way it was written. Adored it. Same as Death Comes for the Archbishop. Sometimes when you're reading a lot of modern books, I think, and then you go to read a classic, it's can be very refreshing because it feels like, I mean, classics are classics for a reason a lot of the time. Sometimes not so much, but sometimes it's because they're written in such a deeply like human way that I find it hard to find in a lot of more modern books. Romantasy. Uh-uh. Girl, I've tried. I that's hey, real quick thing. If you have a romantasy book that's good, that's actually good, like actually well written. I'm being serious. Be so real with me. Like it has to be actually good. Tell me, because I have read a good number of romantasy books and they're all so bad. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be accurate. So please, if you, I love fantasy. I love fantasy, but all the fantasies, almost all the fantasies that I'm being recommended or seeing popular, they're romantasies. Side note, I'm writing my own fantasy novel right now because I got so fed up with all the romantasy books I was seeing. And I was like, first of all, we need queer fantasy. We need queer fantasy. We need queer fantasy about people who are chronically ill or disabled. So that's what I'm rating. Okay, next one. Speaking of gay people, can you tell there's a little bit of a theme here? Okay, so this book actually made me cry so hard, and I know I'm smiling, but that's because it was awesome too. This is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. This was very fundamental to my being. What time is it that this takes place? I think it's the 70s, the 80s. Oh, girl. Okay. Actually, like the 60s. It takes place in San Francisco, and it's all about the like lesbian scene in San Francisco, and it follows the path of some young girls, particular one young girl in particular, who are growing up and coming to terms with their lesbian identity. Just like it's a coming of age, and going to dabbling in the nightlife scene of San Francisco, like lesbian San Francisco slash gay San Francisco. It was incredibly moving, and yeah, when I got to the end of it, I shed some tears, and I don't do that very often when I read, but I shed some tears because it was so, as me, a person who is engaged to a mask slash butch lesbian, any kind of like butch representation that I get in books is really important to me and really, really resonates with me because you don't see that group anywhere near as much as you should. I have strong feelings about butch lesbians. I have strong feelings about them, and I would like to see them in books more because they are just the best. You might be asking, Kate, you just mentioned that you're writing something. Will there be butches in it? Yes. Yes, girl. There will be. Because why would I write it if there weren't? Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Highly recommend. I know there's a sequel. I have that on my bookshelf over there. I haven't read it yet because I need a little bit more time to like. It's also, hey, it is also feel good. Like it's not all sad. I need to make that clear. It's not all sad. It's just that it makes me feel things. This one, I have to say, enjoyment wise, like just how much I enjoyed reading this book, this is probably my book of the year. I was not expecting that necessarily. This is The God of the Woods, by Liz Moore. I got this through Book of the Month, so I have a special edition that has these little pink sprayed edges. Contrary to what the next two books will tell you, I don't care about sprayed edges that much. Also because I have a lot of chemical sensitivities, the less paint and stuff you can put on my book, the better for little old me. It is pretty though. 1975, summer camp. Girl goes missing from the summer camp. We are hearing about it from all these other characters. We're going through time back and forth a little bit. I love that. I love a nonlinear narrative. That's something about me. We are trying to find out what this pink paint drip is. We're trying to find out more about the woods where this takes place. It's like kind of a thriller, and it, yeah, skips around in time a lot. But of course, as someone who spent almost every summer, at least or part of the summer at summer camp growing up, and there being queer characters in here again, surprise surprise, summer camp for me was like really formative. And so having again read this in late summer, I think in early September, I would really recommend, again, reading seasonally. It's amazing to be reading a book like this and hear the cicadas outside as you're reading about the cicadas or whatever in the forest, and seeing the trees bright green and everything. But this was such a page turner for me. Like, I just could not stop reading it. Like, I was thoroughly enmeshed. I really loved all the characters. I was so interested in each of their, you know, stories. And so I would definitely recommend God of the Woods. I mean, it it's got a ton of awards and stuff, I think. I mean, it won Book of the Year for Book of the Month for 2024. That was part of why I picked it up. I think this is like maybe not everyone's thing, but I loved the setting. I loved the plot. I loved everything about girlhood, so much about girlhood and womanhood through this book. If anything in that realm sounds like it might be interesting for you, I would definitely recommend it. I thought it was fantastic. So, and just so interesting. So that might have been my book of the year just for how much I enjoyed it. You know what? You know what I was just saying about romantasy? I guess this is romantasy. Um, but it's mostly fantasy to me. The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. Again, I love a nonlinear narrative. I love a narrative that jumps around in time. I love a time loop scenario because we are dealing with a time loop scenario here. And you know what? I even love a heterosexual couple if we're dealing with a very buff woman and a very scrunkly little nerdy man. That's fine. That's okay to me. And I know the our main lady character, our Lady Knight character is not heterosexual. So that helps. That certainly helps because it just helps. And it's not to say that I won't read those dynamics. It's just that I don't feel the same level of intensity about it as I do if it's more of a queer dynamic. And I also have seen so many heterosexual dynamics in all of my books growing up that now I have the ability to choose otherwise, and I'm taking it. But here we have Lady Knight traveling with sort of dweeby scholar historian who is obsessed with her through time loops and a lot about government and myth and legend, humanity again, and just love. Like, it's just solely about love and devotion. And it's a fantasy book, and the way the narrative is told is so fresh and so interesting, and the way stories are handled, and like I said, myth. If you like any of that kind of stuff, and also, hey, I can't rate something with a buff woman in it like badly, even if it's really bad. Like, it's by nature of me getting to read about a big strong woman. It's like, I just, sorry, there's only that really heightens my enjoyment of a book. Again, do I have big strong Lady Knight in my own book? Yeah, I do. Because okay, so I was ouch, ouch. So I was in the middle of like really passionately ranting about Lady Knights. And the timer on my phone went off for laundry, and it really humbled me. So I'm gonna call it quits on that conversation now. So yeah, those were some of the best books of the year for me that I have physical copies of. There were also a few books that I don't have physical copies of, but that I'm hoping to, that were on my top, and they were a little similar in some ways, actually. Let me see if I can remember the two off the top of my head. I just read Flashlight, which is Susan Choi, I think. And then I also read Homeseeking by Carissa Chen, I want to say. Both of these books dealt a lot with history. Let me speak on Flashlight because Homeseeking I read earlier and I don't remember exactly. I know Flashlight was a lot about the history of Japan and Korea and China and communism, and like just a lot of historical narrative, and like kind of a family saga through that historical narrative. I just remember that they were both kind of like family sagas, or people finding each other after a long amount of time and then going back into their childhoods together, and just like both pretty long books about like how different places affect your story, and how where you were born lives in your bones forever, essentially, and how your bones can only fit in certain spaces without being constrained, to put it weirdly figuratively. But it was about belonging and family and love and trauma, and both just achingly beautiful books, like just achingly beautiful. Like, I could cry thinking about them right now, especially Flashlight, because I just finished Flashlight, and oh my god, I'm okay. I promise I'm okay. The end of Flashlight, heartbreakingly human. So those two, Home Seeking and Flashlight, I would really recommend. Also, both really dealt with chronic illness in a really interesting way, actually. And that's also obviously a riveting theme for me as well. I think that's it. Those are the two ones. I've been checking a lot of books out from the library this year as well, so I don't have everything that I really liked. Those were all my favorite books of the year. I've had a really fantastic reading year. Also read some that were just really not good. I only had two DNFs, which is not too bad. Um, I think they could be someone else's cup of tea. They were again sort of romantasy, sort of fantasy, just not a genre for me. But anyway, based on those books, if you have any recommendations for me to read in 2026, I would love to hear them. I have a ton of books that I want to get through in 2026 and a ton of things that I would like to say on here. And so I guess keep an eye out because I do plan to get back to, I guess, posting here a little more and talking about books a little more. It can be kind of daunting sometimes because, I'm in such a weird health situation right now, and I have a lot of symptoms that make it really difficult to kind of just like sit and talk and focus and get enough breath to do so. Um, but I'm working on it. Things are a work in progress. Everything is messy, but everything is also gorgeous. I hope that if you're seeing this, you have holidays that treat you well in at least some small ways, some glimmers of ways. I know it's a hard time of year. I'm feeling that myself. But if you watched this, I really appreciate you. I hope that maybe these books kind of give you some ideas for things that you might want to read. So, yeah, these are my best books of 2025. And I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you again soon. I am off to literally lay right here and just not move for like a good several hours, probably because my backy hurts. Hurties. My backy hurties. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I will see you soon. Bye.